Hello there. I'm back out on my own again, but it's not too bad this time because Beauty's actually doing a lot better. She didn't have a good day yesterday, but it's like, you know, I just thought she needs a rest, so it's no disasters or anything. She's still here, but I thought she needs a bit of rest. And anyway, every now and again when the clouds go away it gets a bit hot, and I don't want to get too hot. She still needs to recover. She hasn't had any more seizures since Tuesday night, so fingers crossed, everything good. We actually cancelled everything, cancelled the vets and everything, didn't let them take blood, nothing. They didn't seem too happy about that. It's a bit strange, but there you go. Anyway, so I'm off down a walk. I'm going to go into the countryside this time, on the opposite side of that bridge that I showed you the other day. So I'm actually going into what they call the Dean, and then walk along, going through the woods and that, up by the stream. It's lovely. It's that wind's quite chilly, but it's like not a bad day. But I wanted to talk about the steps that you should all be taking now to put yourselves into the private, and to actually make sure that you are protecting yourself, all right, in these strange times. Okay, because a lot of people just like to ask about it, but then they don't, like, you know, do the things that we're saying. And I got an email actually, someone says, like, what's the steps, have you got a rundown of how to do it? And I thought, yeah, I've never done that, you know, I've never actually like laid it out. I mean, not that there's a, you know, a concrete way of doing anything, but you know, there's certainly good suggestions that you could do. So I'm just going to go over them now and just, you know, what I find quite not annoying. I don't care what people do, you do whatever you want. But what I find strange is that I see a lot of these people, maybe not ones listening to this, but like, let's just say the normies, right, and they're like quite happy because they think, you know, because they've been allowed out for a couple of beers on the summer, that everything's back to normal, and that, you know, nothing's going on, and it's like, oh, it's all over now. No, nobody needs to worry about that, you know. Well, I'll tell you what, it isn't. I'm just going to turn this out, let you see on the other side of the bridge. So there's that bridge, look, see, I was on the other side of there, and then the stream comes up here, and that's where we're going to go up that path there, but you can't really see much from this angle. But we're going to go up there. Yeah, but most definitely it is not over with, and it is not all finished with. These people are just getting their breath back, and they're going to come back at you all guns blazing. And in the meantime, I mean, you know, just look at everything that's going on. You know, like, I still haven't got my car back because apparently there's a war that's like keeping this from getting the car parts, and a staff shortage. What, did they send them all off to Wally, did they? All the staff? I bloody don't think so. And the car parts, well, everything gets made there now, does it? It doesn't get made anywhere else. I doubt that very much as well. Especially when it's an Italian car. You know, but all this is happening at the same time as all of these prices are flying through the sky, right? Your electric prices, your gas prices for your home, plus the fuel prices, whatever it is, diesel or petrol, for your cars, right? And they're just hitting everybody left, right and centre. Food prices are increasing. Actually, we noticed the food prices increased on the first lockdown in 2020. I know that just means crap at bloody shopping, and she buys all the expensive stuff. But you know, so this is still going on in a big way. You know, this is still putting you into all of these problems that are occurring, and you're not going to be able to afford anything. I've had a couple of phone calls and messages there, you know, like, oh, I really need help now. It's getting to the point where I literally can't run my business. It's too expensive. I'm going to have to close my business. I'm going to have to, you know, stop trading. I can't go out in the van to do business. It costs fortunes. You know, this is all done on purpose. This is a plan. This isn't like all coincidental, accidental or anything like that. This is exactly what they're wanting, to put you all into such a desperate position, and feel like you're in a desperate situation. And then once they've created this huge problem for everyone, they're going to offer a one government solution to it, and you'll be, yay, clap your hands now. I'm in charge. They're in charge of me. I'm completely under the care, let's call it, the care of the government. You know, but what happens when you're under the care of them, or anyone? You know, you have to do everything and exactly what you were told to do, like good little boys and girls, or else you will get punished for it. I'll turn this round now as well to get a little bit of a better view here. So this is just coming in a bit in the woods, but the stream continues up and goes up there, but we'll follow it, we'll walk all the way up there, see where we'll get to, and we're back. Yeah, so you know, man, this is what's been created, and if you're not preparing for it or trying to protect yourself for it, then you're going to get into a lot of hassle. I'm going to jump down here. Oh, we're right up onto the edge. So the first thing that you need to declare is you being in the private. Now remember, to be in the private and to understand and know yourself, know thyself. Alright, I know it might sound biblical, but it's true. You have to know thyself. And what do I mean by know thyself? Alright, and that's got to be like in your mind and in your heart. Okay, and knowing that you are a man or a woman under the Creator. Alright, the Creator that's like created everything and allows us in here to share all this, walking through these woods and this stream. So you have to know in your mind, fully know it. You know, not just say the words, oh yeah, I'm a man, I'm a woman. You've got to know it and feel it and 100% know thyself. Realizing that, you know, you are a man and a woman and not a person. A person is legal fiction created for the ease of government to have contracts, contract law between corporations. A man and a woman cannot be part of a contract with a corporation. They can contract man to man, woman to woman, woman to man, right? But a corporation cannot contract with the living. So that's what they've done, they've created the person. So you've got to make sure that you know that you're not that, but then declare it to them as well. Now, in the Commonwealth, it depends what you could term the Commonwealth, but you know, we have the Settercavey Act 1666, which still, go and read it for yourself. I'm not even going to tell you what it says. You should have hopefully read it by now, right? But if you haven't read it, then go and read it, and you can see what it says, because we're actually rebutting the Settercavey Act 1666, because it tells you if you don't rebut it, then you're classified as what they tell you you're classified as. So go and read it. You can Google it, it's still there up on the government website, 100% still valid. And any act and statute that's not valid on the government website, it states point blank on the government website that this is now obsolete. It tells you. Okay, so on that one, Settercavey Act 1666, it has nothing about being obsolete, nothing about being changed. It is there, alright? And it's written in Old English, as they used to write. Okay, and I've wrote it out before for people and go, oh, you've made spelling mistakes. Yeah, I'm not going to change the way they've wrote it, not for anybody. You know, it is what it is. I'm just going to turn this around. Just go, you look, this is gorgeous here, look. So this is where we're going. We're going up that way. We're going to follow the path some people walking towards. I might cross over on the other side when I get up to there. And then we've got the stream, and then these are all marshes. They used to do salt pan collection here. I'll collect the salts And then down at the bottom there, you see just in the distance, you see the bridge where we were the other day. And that's where I've come along that. I'm walking along. This here, where it gets filled up, you can see where the water line is. I'd love to get like a kayak and go up here once the water's like high enough, which it does. It gets high enough when the tide comes in, and you can go all the way up here. I'll show you later. Alright, let's get it back. Oh, missed the button. Hey, and we're back. Okay, so yeah, so you know, on the Act, the Set of KV Act, you've got to, our lawful notice and demand, or the LND, is like an affidavit style rebuttal of what they presume we are. Like I say, go read it for yourself. I'm not trying to preach to you what's what or who's who. Go and read it and see what it says. So our lawful notice and demand is a rebuttal of what they're presuming us to be on the Set of KV Act 1666. So what we do is we actually complete that, we fill that form in, and when we fill the form in, we put it together with a security agreement and a power of attorney. Now this is our power of attorney on the lawful notice of demand, which gives the power, right, over to the attorney, which is you, the living. And the power is from the fictional name, the legal fiction, capitalised name. That's what that power of attorney is for. That's all it's for. It's nothing to do with the Office of the Public Guardian, which I'll talk about in a little while. And there's the 3 documents that you have to do. Now you have to first create them. You can download them off my website totally for free. There's no cost involved whatsoever apart from a stamp. Right, and if you can't afford a stamp, then, well, there's nothing we can do to help you. But that's all you have to do. Download it, edit it to your details. We've made it nice and easy, so it's in red where you need to edit it. And then what you do is you actually send it to yourself. You do the postal mechanics on it. Alright, if you need any help on the postal mechanics, you can go to Jez's channel. He's got some good videos on there. Or you can just watch the video that we've got. It shows you how to do it, how to send it to yourself via the post office. Make sure that you get it recorded so that, you know, you've got proof of posting, and then you get proof of delivery when you sign for it, because he sent it to you. Alright, so once you've done that and you've got the postal mechanics and you've created the contract with the Universal Postal Union, which is in Bern, Switzerland, and then you're going to send it to the Sinister 7. Now we've got all your names and addresses, and we've got them for a lot of different countries, not just England. Alright, because it is different in a few different ones anyway, in Scotland and even in Northern Ireland. So it's part of Great Britain. And also, like, I think Wales might actually have 1 or 2 different, but you know, so it's got the addresses to send them off to, even ones in Australia, Canada, United States, etc. And then you send them off to the well, there's 7 in the UK, but like there might be 2 or 3 more where you come from. And then you give them 40 days and 40 nights for them to rebut and argue against your affidavit. It is an affidavit style that they have to argue against. Alright, so then you've done that, and you give them the 40 days and 40 nights. And then what you're going to do is you're going to send a second affidavit, which basically, it's very small, but it basically repeats a lot what they're saying. Let's go over here, and then, right, it says, like, thank you for not arguing or rebutting. But just in case you forgot or didn't say it, here's a second opportunity to argue again. If you do not argue this time, after another 40 days and 40 nights, you're accepting 100% that I am alive, I am a living man, living woman, whichever, and I am in the private. I am not part of acts and statutes. Hello, crow. There's a big crow down there eating something out of the mud. I'll leave it alone. Oh, I don't want to disturb you. Okay, so you send off that second affidavit, and generally you don't get any response. You're not going to get a letter from Doris or, you know, not very pretty Patel or any of them. Definitely not off old Lizzie telling you, oh, thank you for saying that, we understand now, take care. You're not going to get anything, so don't worry about it, don't panic about it, right? What it would be using is we're using tacit agreement. This is what they use on you, okay? Tacit consent. Now, the reason why you're tied into all of these acts and statutes, and you have to do what you're told through the acts and statutes, is because you didn't argue about it. So because you didn't argue about it, you have tacitly consented to being under acts and statutes. Your tacit consent. So on the lawful notice and demand, we're telling them your silence is your acquiescence, and your acquiescence is basically agreeing with us. You simply can't argue with us. Therefore, it is your tacit consent that we are using to agree with each other that I am alive, and I'm not actually dead, I'm not a legal fiction, and I'm living in the private with nothing to do with acts and statutes. Thank you very much. Alright, it's their tacit agreement with us now. We've reversed their rules. Well, not reversed them, but we've used their rules in reverse. We've used it on them. So once you're doing that and you're putting yourself in the private, what you need to do, now it doesn't matter if you own property, it doesn't matter if you own 10 properties or no properties, you still need to get yourself in a private trust, and you need a private trust to protect all and any assets that you do have. So people say, well, you know, I've just rented accommodation. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm coming round tomorrow and I'm going to empty your home of everything. You're going to be sitting there with nothing but the clothes that you got, that you're wearing. See how you feel then, okay? So think about that. So get yourself a private trust. Right? You can put yourself in the private trust and whatnot, and there's lots of different things you can put in the private trust, but definitely all your possessions. Alright? A court might call them goods. Okay, that might be the word or the terminology, but you need to protect everything. Okay? So, once you've actually got that created, and you're going to have to express the trust. Now, if you do have property, then you should also be doing the land registry as well. And there's various different forms that may need some help, because you don't want to make mistakes. But either study it very carefully before doing anything, or get some help from someone who's in the know. Don't ask a solicitor, because it's about as much use as a chocolate teapot. And they have no idea what privacy is, what a private trust is, living in the private, or being a man or woman, because they're all robots sworn to the court. Okay? So, you get your private trust created, and then you're going to have to express it. So you have to make sure, because it's a private trust, right? If it was a statutory trust, you would do what's called a statutory declaration of trust. But a statutory declaration of trust, as you can imagine what it sounds like, comes under acts and statutes, because it's statutory. And because it's statutory, you know, you don't want anything to do with it. So we have to do still a declaration. I'm going out here just to let these people pass with the little doggies. There's a few of them coming for.
Thank you.
Hi, alright. Hiya. Ooh. So we're going to do a declaration, and you need your declaration of trust, your deed and your expression. So we do it a number of ways, but you've got to make sure that you cover the three certainties of a trust to prove that it's a trust. And the main one and first one to start with is the certainty of intention. The certainty of intention means that you have to be able to prove that it was the intention of the settler, or the creator, or you probably, to create a trust. Alright? Be it private or any other type. So, hang on, I swap my hands. So to have that certainty of intention, so what you need to do then is you need to prove that you intended to do it, so you declare it. So we actually create the trust deed and the trust document, and I also do it with a memorandum of trust creation. And I send it to myself, the same as we would send the L&D to ourselves. So you do it with, I do it with first class recorded, which means you have to first class sign for, which means you have to sign for it when it gets delivered, and it's first class. Kind of self-explanatory. All right. So when it arrives, and what you do is on the memorandum of trust, on the trust deed, you actually put the tracking number into the document. So you got to buy the postage before you send it off, obviously. But I just do mine all online. Makes it a lot easier. So you send it to yourself, and then you sign it, obviously. So you've got proof of postage, proof of sending it, and proof of delivery. And then you've also got the tracking numbers written into the documents. So they're tied into the documents. So if you ever had to prove it, i.e. show somebody the actual document, say, well, look, this is the proof of the postage, this is the proof of the receipt, and here's the document that was inside it. It's completely bulletproof, you know. Nobody could say you hadn't intended to create a trust. There is your certainty of intention. Right, but I like belt and braces, okay? You got your belt around your pants and then you put your braces on. So, what that means is we're going to do something else as well. So what I like to do, right, is then do a public notice, which is a legal notice. Now on a public notice, you're going to do it in the newspaper, but you're not putting any private information in, you're not putting anything in, or, you know, this is what's in the trust. It's private, right? So you're not going to have to do any of that, okay? So what you do is, I've got some contacts if you need them, and you just put into the public notice, it's called, and there's a public notice department in the media company that I have contacts with. Nothing to do with me, but I've found it, so I can tell you it, and then you go to them, you put your ad and you pay them. It depends on which area and how big the distribution is, I've found. So mine cost 80 quid, someone else's was near London, cost them 200 quid. But there's a lot more issues go out, you see, because it's like a bigger area. And all they say is like, a private trust was created on, what day is it today? Saturday the 18th of June 2022. Reference number, whatever, okay? If it was like mine, say, Peter's Private Trust, 12345 PT, or something like that, anything like that. There's a robin redbreast flying through. Get a lot of them around here. I still haven't seen the little mother with her ducks. I think they're all, hopefully they've all just went away because they were big enough and haven't all been ate. I hope. Alright, so then, you know, you actually get a copy from the press. They put it online, and they put it in the local newspaper, and one of the companies that and if you can't find the company that I've got, they've got newspapers all over the country, all over the UK, but not every single area. So if they haven't got your particular area, just find one near your area, and if you can't find one in your area, just do one anywhere, as long as it's expressed in the press on a public notice, which is a legal notice. And all it is a declaration with no private information in whatsoever. I mean, at the end, at the bottom, I put anybody requiring information on this private trust can email, and I just created an email on whatever it is. I mean, you're never going to really get any inquiries, but you just put it on. So, like, you know, whatever the name of the trust is, you make that at hotmail.com or at Google, whatever. You get it, don't you? You don't have to go and buy one and have it private one, you know, because probably no one will ever contact you. But then you create your private trust, and you've expressed your private trust. Now, if you don't own property, but you might own property in the future, and then you can do a memorandum, right, and actually put it into the trust, you see? So you never know what's going to happen there. You know, so you're starting the ball rolling. Now, these people that own all of these massive mansions, and that, you know, they started off with nothing, and everything was in trusts, and now they've got, you know, massive everything. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. Now, like the Rockefellers tell you, own nothing, control everything, and that's why you need to get your name off everything. right? So even your car, if you don't want to put it in a trust, put it in a private limited company. You should have your limited company name anyway, right? Which can be dormant, and you can still put it in the trust. Now, it's the beneficial use of the car that you're doing, all right? We know you're not going to own a car, the DVLO, blah blah blah, right? We comprehend the picture. However, right, you don't want your name on it. Someone just grabbed hold of my shoulder there. You don't want your name on it. You know, same as you don't want your name on your home if you own your home. The reasons being, it's all privacy and it's protection. If you've got some kind of corporate thief predator wanting to come after you for whatever reason, if they can't find and see your name on a property, then they can't steal anything from you, right? Now, you know, I know for a fact that this has been done in bankruptcy where people have gone bankrupt, but they've got the proper protection before this happens, and there's property involved worth a lot of money, you know, and some of them with mortgages as well. Remember, we actually put the equity in trust, and this makes it slightly more difficult with paperwork, so you probably have to get some assistance with it rather than doing it all yourself. You need land registry paperwork. Oh, the dog's chasing the... Fancy that, man. Look, see, that's what I was just talking about there, you arseholes. That's why you've got the little mother ducks there with no babies left. You know, got no ducks left now, little baby ducks, because they let the dogs off next to where all the birds are breeding. You know, not as much sense as a dead peanut. Still try to chase the duck. The ducks try to swim away from it. You know, because the birds, you know, it takes a lot of energy and effort for them to actually take off. And then when they land, they've got virtually no energy left, so they're trying to swim away. You know what it is. You know, if you can't control your dog, you should never have one. You know, you got to, there's responsibilities for all living things, be it your dog as well as your wildlife that your dog's going to be around. Yeah, man. That's what I was talking about now. The private trust, protecting yourself. Now, at the same time as you're doing this, what you need to do is you need to go into the public. And when you're in the public, what I'm talking about in the public is going to the Office of the Public Guardian. The Office of the Public Guardian is for your lasting power of attorney, and there's two of them. You need to do it. I know you've heard me say it before, but people are saying, yeah, I haven't got round to it yet. You've got to do it. Yeah, I think it's went and killed the duck, and they couldn't do anything except shout at the dog. Lovely, eh? Instead of jumping in the river, you know, I would have jumped in the river. I wouldn't have cared how wet and dirty I got. But on the lasting power of attorney, you can do it for your finances and property, and you can also do it for your health. It's incredibly important, okay? Because if you end up in hospital unconscious and you can't, you know, speak for yourself, which you never know, hopefully never happen, but it could happen. And then as you get older, you know, you might end up just being put in hospital for whatever reasons. They will do anything they want, okay? Unless you have a power of attorney. Now that lasting power of attorney has the power of a court order. So anyone trying to deny what is written down on the instructions on that lasting power of attorney, okay, is going to be facing serious consequences. So it has the power of a court order, and on mine it states point blank. This is soaking here. I've got loads of puddles everywhere. It's probably because where the tide was in before. It hasn't been raining in days. That's what I'm saying. This used to be all salt pans, and all the salt will dry out here. Oh dear, the dog's running away now. Ooh.
Henry! What are you doing? Henry!
Hopefully it gets tired and stops.
Henry!
But like I say, you know, like on the lasting power of attorney on the medical side, with that power, if they try and stop anything happening, that you've got yours, and mine says point blank, I'm not allowed to be left with any NHS staff whatsoever. I'm not allowed to have any masks at all. I'm not allowed any kind of testing whatsoever unless fully agreed to in writing. I'm not allowed any blood transfusions unless I can actually find out exactly where it's coming from. You know what I'm talking about. Ooh, watch this. Step over these big holes. He's still chasing his dog. And two dogs absolutely going mad. Running away everywhere. Guys fell in the river. Like I say. Dear me. Yeah, and on the property one again, it's like, you know, you have to actually declare what you want happening. So on my property one, then you know, it states point blank that the properties, well, my name's never on any property anyway, but any properties must be left in the private trust, and nothing is to be taken out of the private trust, i.e. supposedly to pay for any care. Okay, which is what they'll do, the council will do, them lovely council people. These dogs are running right up to the road, you know. There's a road up here. Anyway, so now if you watched, now obviously if it's in the members, we had a guy, Richard Moore, who did a great presentation about the living wills for us, and I've got another meeting with someone else soon, which is going to be talking about the living wills. And on the living wills, that can tie in with the lasting power of attorney, and it's very powerful and very strong, you know.
Henry, what's this?
The dog's
Oh my God, that dog.
going crazy.
Henry!
It's not wanting to come over or anything, is it? Crazy.
Henry, come on!
Oh,
Over here!
hopefully it's going to come over now.
Henry!
Madness.
Come here, Henry, what's this?
But yeah, the living wills, that's another thing. There's two of them. That so there's different versions, but this one is from the charity. I can't remember what it was, but I'm going to ask Richard if I can actually use bits of the information that he's put out on the members presentation and put that out on the public one as well, so everybody can see it, because I think it's vitally important. So those are the steps that you should be doing to protect yourself. Now, if you've got property and you're not really worried, not really sure, or a bit worried about like how to do the forms, because they are legal forms, and you have to be very careful that you don't do it incorrectly. For the land registry, there's several different forms, 4, maybe 5, but definitely 4, you know, that you have to do, and it have to be done correctly, or you can end up losing your property. I do know somebody made a mistake and did lose the property. It's still going through court now, but you know, they've lost the property there. They've only just got the dogs back. I don't want to turn it around until they're out of the way. I don't want to show you now. So I'm in kind of in the middle, so you got like all the stream here. Which it's the tide's out, obviously. It goes all the way up there, surrounded by the woods, which is lovely, isn't it? Nice and peaceful. Well, it was, apart from the dogs running mad and shouting and swearing. And we're back. Okay, so those there that talk about, they're very practical steps, you know, and I tell you what it is, just in case you wanted to do all the other fighting, be it trying to challenge, you know, your debts and your mortgages and your bills and everything, you should protect yourself before you start these battles. So you should be in the private and have your trusts before you start doing all that. Now everybody's got different stories, and you know, you can go around and tell everyone to F off if you like, and you know, nothing's ever going to happen to you and everything will be fine. But to me, right, there's different parts of legislation that we can use by dipping in and out of the private, sometimes public, and you can protect yourself on both fronts. So the sensible thing really, right, before you're going to go to war, is to put your armour on. Alright, think about it like that. Believe it or not, like, you know, it's up to you how you believe. I was doing this past life regression thing the other day, and I got stabbed by swords. That wasn't good. So that armour mustn't have been very good. So just so you got to get this armour on before you actually start doing these battles, because they're going to come after you. And I tell you what it is, the more that I'm seeing now, they're changing the wording on these notices and letters that the councils are sending out and that the companies are sending out, these pretend credit brokers that pretend that they're an electricity or gas supplier. All right, and they're getting more and more vicious and aggressive all the time. I've dealt with it personally. I'm right in the middle of a case. I'm still chasing up now, and I'm going to hammer them when I get that DSAR. You watch. And I'm going to be doing it to the people, right? Not to the, well, I'm going to do it to the company, but I'm also going to do it to the ones that were clever enough to actually stand in a clown outfit and threaten things, okay? Which is aiding and abetting fraud. So that's what I'm right in the middle of right now. But like I say, you know, like, you have to go and get everything protected, okay, before you get into these battles. And those are the steps that you need to get yourself going, get out of the system, if you want to call it that, but never fully out, because you were in a transitional period. All right, I was talking about it, you know, like the other day, when we're moving into the golden age, but we're still not in there, and we're still having to fight. The Satya Yuga is where we want to go. Well, I can't remember the name of it now. The Kali Yuga was like in the bad, which is where we're in. And the reason why we're getting more and more aggressive is because, you know, they know they're losing, and they're going to try and drag everything down with them. So, you know, that guy Clayton, when he was saying, you know, think of it like a hostage situation. Once the people who have took your hostages realise that they're all going to die, and that they're not going to get the helicopter and the 10 million to fly off with, then they're going to start killing the hostages. And we are the hostages, and the councils and the corporations are going to start killing us. Well, they aren't, they? And have been for quite some time. So that is what is going to be happening. So get your armour on, get them protections. People are asking for the steps, so there they are. So very quickly put yourself in the private, do your LND, do your second affidavit to make sure that you've been accepted, get your ID printed up, all right? The ID saying Peter the Private, well, don't you say that, man, okay? And then do your private trust, do your lasting power of attorney. I'm walking across these shaky stones here, right on the down by the muddy bank of the little stream. But yeah, lasting power of attorney on both health and property. If you don't own your own property, then do your health. Do your property as and when it's needed. You know, and also that living will thing. I'm going to see somebody maybe even next week, which will get a little more insight into that. But if not, have a look at the video. Fingers crossed Richard will allow me to put it up on the public site as well. And using that charity. It's a charity, and it ties into the lasting power of attorney. Just climb up here. Oh. Alright, and that's all the practical steps to start fighting back at the system, but also protecting yourself while you're fighting the system. Alright, we don't want anybody losing everything, do we? And the thing is, when all these people are saying, oh, I've got like, they're going to come and steal the property and everything like that, and generally it's because your name was on that property. Okay, now You know, it's just one of those things. You're not meant to know that. A lot of these courses and everything that I was doing, it had to be done under an NDA, all right, so that you don't go and start telling everybody all about these forms that hide your identity on the land registry and protect you. They don't want you protected. They want that property so they can steal it off you and then resell it again and again and again. All right, you are cannon fodder for the banks, the banksters. So you know, you need to start studying that, or at least getting a grips with that, or getting someone to help you do that. After you've put everything in private trust, if you do have property, then do the forms correctly so that nobody can come and steal it from you, which is their whole intent, the whole purpose. Probably that's what a mortgage is. Now, if you have a mortgage, you can still put your property in private trust, and you can still put change the land registry as well. Okay. Now, there's ways of doing it, and you need to kind of request permission, but it's kind of like, you know, not requesting, but I'm walking very carefully because I'm right on the river's edge. Yeah, so just so you can see it. So if you fell in there, I'm just going to be hitting in the mud. I don't fancy that. Plus, there's loads of big spiky rocks. So I don't fancy splitting my shins open either. Quite sheltered here though, it's getting warmer. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? All you're doing is trying to protect yourself, and I'm telling you how to do it. So then that's the way to get going with it. Now obviously there's tons and tons of other things that you need to be doing on top of there. But then also, right, if you're in a position, because there's loads of people that are still in positions now of having to battle with their employers, or well, councils, if that was your employer, about working in these homes and hospitals and stuff, because they were taking your jobs off you because of your status or your ideas on wearing, you know, nappies across your nose, a nose nappy. All right, so you know, but being in the private and all that will actually help with that as well. But I have a meeting next week with someone who's an expert on, well, not an expert, but very genned up on union law and stuff like that, where we can help even more people, and they're helping people. It sounds like they've helped loads of people. So we're all working together, so it's good when I get phone calls and I can go meet people around the country that are all on the same side, instead of others that you find that argue about who created what form and who said what first and who did this and who should be doing that. You know, it's good to come across people that say, look, do you want to meet up and see how we can move forward together and battle the oppression, right? Which is why I keep saying you have to learn how to be private, be able to dip in and out of the public and private as and when needed, because we're in a transition, okay? And we're not going to move into Satya Yuga, which is the golden age, for a while yet. So we have to be battling, and to protect yourself and battle, you do need to know some legislation and even use some legislation in the war, all right? As well as thinking of the spiritual war, making sure you're doing your spiritual work and looking within as well. It's a lot of work, okay? No one said it was going to be easy, right? But let's make it difficult for them as well. All right, I'm back over on the other side where I was the other day now, going down towards the beach. It's getting warmer. I don't think I'll go on the beach though, because it might be a bit noisy with the waves crashing on the shore. I'll show you where I am here though, look. So there's that pub, which is the old foreman's house where they made the cut. You can just see the cut with a cut through that sheer rock, and down the harbour and the stream. I'm up higher than I was last time. And there's the bridge, the little bridge and the big bridge. And that's where I've come from, all the way through the woods and back over